Hey everyone, it's 7:15 in the morning. It is quiet. Look at this, look how quiet it is. We are at our anchorage point at Qaqortoq in Greenland. And it is like just eerie. This is similar to what we saw earlier in the cruise over at, I don't remember where we were at. Either Norway or Iceland, one of the two. This is just as weird. Super calm water compared to what we saw coming in here. So the tendering process is supposed to start at 7:30, I think. You can start going ashore. I'm not even sure where the shore is at this point, because look at this. Just the thickest fog you've ever seen.
It's the Voyager of the seas.
Morning.
Okay, watch your step, watch your step.
Time to go ashore at Qaqortoq. A little chaotic there on the tender boat. Nobody wanted to be in the front apparently, so that's where we're going.
Up here.
Must be on the front row.
Back there. Put it all up.
14-night Arctic repositioning cruise. Copenhagen, Denmark to Boston, Massachusetts. And this was going to be the only time we actually set foot on Greenland because Nuuk, which is, I guess, the capital city, that was canceled. This was September 2022.
I wonder how many people can do that.
Height of the pandemic. So you had a lot of pandemic issues going on.
Who's qualified? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bring 'em on.
There I am in the black hat with the, got my 360 camera in the air.
Are you as entertained as we are?
Oh, very. This
As
is,
you can tell,
as I said, how many people are qualified, you know, with all the short staff.
most of this footage is from Maria's cell phone.
How many people can actually do this for all the tenders, you know?
This is not one where they go to channels apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the tender process is kind of cool.
Okay, so what's that piece of equipment that you're holding up?
It records video in 360 degrees.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. We met y'all up on
Yes.
deck, and I don't know if maybe he didn't have it at that
Or if he
time.
did, it was just down and in his hand.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't have it out.
Met some new friends on this cruise.
So cool.
14 nights. That was the longest cruise we've done to date.
You're gonna have, you might as well have something like this, right?
And I don't know. I guess I would do it again. It depends on the ship and the itinerary.
With tenders, but and they weren't using their boats, I don't think.
This one had a lot of sea days, and I don't know. That's where the ship really makes a difference.
It's a well-known. They have their own boats now.
Yeah.
It's usually been a Caribbean where they know exactly.
Yeah. That's it was St. Martin. No, where was it?
Grand Cayman.
Oh, Grand Cayman. Yeah.
Yeah, because of that reef, they won't build a dock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It was a pretty rocky ride from what I remember. Oh, they got little windshield wipers. Okay.
ready to meet us.
These 4 people in the town came out to win.
Probably some tourists.
I said that out loud.
Yeah. I do that all the time.
So everybody files out, and then we get on shore. And when we first got over there that morning, this was one of the earliest tenders. They were just getting started with the tendering process when this first batch of the tender boats went over. So we had a shore excursion in the afternoon, and I think in the morning we were just going to go kind of wander around and then go back onto the ship and have lunch, and then go back out again for our shore excursion in the afternoon. So this was the first time on the island. And, it's a colony, not colony, I forgot what it exactly is. I guess it's a colony of Denmark. And so you see a lot of the European colors going on. And you'll see it as we start to move around a little bit on the island. And
Oh, it is. Yeah. Wow. Look at those houses.
yeah, see, Maria's talking
How
about them right
pretty.
there. Here's me. getting ready to fly the drone. Because why not? We're out in the middle of nowhere. Small town Qaqortoq. No airports anywhere close to us that I'm aware of at the time where we were at filming this. So we got the drone footage going on here, and I've put a little bit of this up already up on the YouTube channel. The drone, of course, doesn't record any audio, so it's just kind of a big camera just floating around up there. But like I said, it was in the morning and it was very foggy, as you can tell. Later in the afternoon and kind of lunchtime and that kind of thing, the fog would start to burn off. So first get the drone up in the air here, and there's just not a whole lot to see out in the distance because it's just so foggy. And sometimes I run into the issue with the drone of like, okay, I get it up in the air and I'm like, now where do I send this thing? And in this particular case, I had plenty of time to fly. I had plenty of battery, but the thing is, I'm being unfamiliar with the territory, and the drone itself is so physically small, it practically fits in your hand. And once a drone gets up about probably 50 to 75-ish feet in the air, even if it's like kind of almost directly above you, you can't even see it because it's so small. And so they tell drone operators you're supposed to fly with like visual, like where you always can see the drone. That's just not practical because it's so small that once you get it up in the air to any height, you're just not going to be able to see it. And so you're essentially flying with the combination of looking at the controller, the screen, because you're getting a constant feedback of what the drone is looking at and what the camera's pointed at, which is of course the same thing that the drone is recording to the memory card. So you're seeing what the camera's pointed at, and you also have on the controller like a map of physically, like using GPS coordinates, physically where the drone is located in relation to where you're standing. And you also see things on the controller like how many feet away from you, how far away it is from you, how high up in the air, etc. So once you start to get used to flying the drone and all of the different pieces of information that are coming at you to try to figure out where the drone is and where it's going, and then where do you want to take it, how far away do you want to go with it. And if you go too far away, you start to run into problems with the signal, and then the drone and the controller start to lose communication with each other if you're too far away. So in the case of Qaqortoq right here, I didn't want to go too far away because then I would start to run into that issue, and I was a little worried about, that kind of thing. And the drone does have sort of a safety feature that if it loses control or contact with the controller, it knows the GPS coordinates of where the controller is. And so it would be able to automatically come back to that location at the same height, at the same, whatever, and then just slowly lower itself down. So basically sort of be able to return home. I've never had to actually use it because I've always been careful not to fly too far away to where that would become an option. But really it just comes down to like, okay, I've got it up in the air. How high up in the air do I want to go? And then how far away and in what direction? What do I want to film? And of course, also with the controller, you kind of see it in the video right here. I'm trying to keep the movements to a minimum so that I'm not, herky-jerky up there with the camera, because when it's hovering like this and moving just very slowly forward, the slightest movements of the drone are sort of amplified in the video. And so you have to be very careful on the controller not to turn too quickly to the left or too quickly to the right or whatever. And so, but yeah, the biggest thing is really just what do I want to film? Being unfamiliar with the location, and the Voyager of the Seas is out there in the fog somewhere because it's anchored offshore because of the tendering process that you saw at the beginning of the video. And but you see all of the colors of the building, as I mentioned earlier, a colony of Denmark. And so you've got the colors, the colorful schemes going on here with the buildings and everything. And this was, again, September 2022. We recorded so much footage during this 2-week cruise that I'm just now putting this video together, this experiences video together for March of 2025. And if you've been following any of the stuff in the news over the last few months, early part of 2025, of course, Denmark has been in the news, or not Denmark, well, Denmark and Greenland have both been in the news because of the U.S. president possibly, wanting to do something with Greenland, and I don't know. We don't get into that kind of stuff on the channel, but it's been interesting to kind of see Greenland, that is normally a little bit out of sight, out of mind, kind of brought into the conversation with all of that stuff going on. But we had a really, really good time here. Met, some of the locals, and between coming ashore this morning where I'm recording the drone footage here, and then after lunch we came back out there again, we were on shore for probably about maybe 5 hours, maybe 6 possibly, but had enough time to stop in and get a little coffee, which you'll see here in a minute, at one of the famous little local coffee shops, and that was pretty neat. And I have some footage somewhere else, and there's just too much to include in these videos, but we went inside one of the grocery stores, and I was recording video inside there, and that was kind of interesting to see like what their grocery store looks like and the types of things that they have for sale there in the store and everything. So here's the drone coming back down. This is Maria, of course, recording this on her cell phone. And you can see even from right there, and it's still a little ways away, you see how small the drone is. And so when it's up there in the air, 50, 75 feet in the air, you can barely see it. You have to pretty much fly with the controller. So Maria was thankfully patient enough for me to be able to fly the drone a little bit, because she's not really doing anything while I'm standing there just flying it with the controller. So there I am in the red jacket, got the backpack on, got my 360 camera up in the air, and yeah, it was cool to see Greenland and to go ashore, but obviously there's not a whole lot to do here.
I wonder if the church is open to go inside.
You're just kind of exploring around, it's Greenland. It's not known for any things like in the Caribbean and all that kind of stuff. It's not that type of setup, This little building right here, I believe is where the coffee place is, right here on the right side of the frame. I think this was it. And we kind of ducked in there for a minute, got a coffee. I think we might have had a little pastry. It was very crowded in there, of course, very busy, and all of the passengers coming ashore, from the ship. So put the drone back up in the air again, because we had plenty of time to kind of walk around and just enjoy everything, and before going back onto the ship for lunch. So like I said, thankfully Maria was patient enough with me to let me put the drone back up in the air yet again.
$1,600 feet. Oh, hang on. Drifted a little bit here.
Where'd it go?
Here's the little coffee place that I mentioned. As I said, I don't remember the name, but they were very, very nice, excellent coffee. You see they got little food, sandwiches, treats, snacks, whatever it is going on here. So it was really cool to kind of hang out in there for a minute and get something to eat, something to drink. So then we return back to the area where we can pick up the tender, and one of the locals here, I'm not sure what he's doing exactly, but it's kind of cool to see the local culture and experience it, you know, to the extent possible. The short excursion we were going to do in the afternoon was kind of a history type deal. There's the Voyager right there in the background. And of course, everybody getting their group photos and stuff.
Please remain seated until the tender has been fully secured and the tender crew instructs you to disembark. Be aware that during periods of high swell, there may be unexpected movement of the tender.
Once they get the tendering process going, it works pretty well throughout the day. We got a constant flow of the tender boats going until they're kind of done. So it's a pretty, it's not the same as being able to just walk down the cruise pier, but it's not bad once it's up and running. But first thing in the morning, there's a little bit of a line waiting for them to get the boats going, but then you're good from that point on.
It's 12:30 p.m. Qaqortoq, Greenland. It's like super quiet out here. Very serene. We are on deck 9 of the Voyager of the Seas. It's Junior Suite 9334. Yeah, just a little bit of the town over there. Getting ready to go get on the next tender to go back on shore. We have a walking tour at 3:30. And again, it's 12:30, so we got a little bit of time to, you know, walk around and do stuff before the start of the tour. This morning it was super foggy, so thankfully that's let up. Now we have pretty nice little weather out here. Temperatures mid-40s, hardly any wind. I was able to put the drone up a couple times this morning, got some great footage. So lots and lots and lots and lots of vlog footage from this trip. After this, we go do Prince Christian Sound, or the Sound, or whatever it is, where we kind of drive through like some icebergs and very scenic stuff. And then 3 sea days, and then Boston, Massachusetts. Then grab a Delta flight home to Orlando, Florida.
Kind of structured chaos coming down here to deck 3, I think, down here the photo gallery, because this was sort of the staging area for all of the tender boats to go back out, and was a little bit of a line because this was right after lunch. A lot of people probably doing the same thing we were doing. Go back on the ship for lunch and then go back out in the afternoons. That's what we're doing right here.
There were some very
but we're not going to see the whole stone and man. So we're going to make a circle here, and then we're going to see some of the art here. We're going to talk about all the stone and man, but of course of the city as well. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And whenever we are walking, can you go to the side, please? Because we have all these cars coming from different directions. So the first sculpture we have here, it's called Eric the Red. Eric the Red is the one who found Greenland. Do we have problem with the knee or ankle? Yeah. So I'm going to put this on whenever I'm speaking. Yeah, so the box doesn't go inside my mouth. Lava seat. Lava seat. So we have the man and the woman here during Christmas time and New Year's Eve. We don't really have snow here. So if you imagine in the darkness and we don't have any snow here, it would be like really dark here. But when we have the snow, it's brighten the time.
Oh yeah.
So it's pretty neat to kind of get the perspective of one of the locals there. You know, what it's like to live in Greenland and stuff.
They have a shallow draft, and that should be too big.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like, what's the maximum draft? 15, 20 feet maybe.
There's the Voyager in the background, and get ready to go back onto the ship.
Some are able to just come right up to right here. Yeah.
We're talking to one of the crew members right there.
Yeah.
I think he was from Russia. Really cool guy. I remember talking to him. Yeah. And of course, the tender back to the ship.
Yes, and then we live in New Zealand, where it was $400 cheaper to sell more, go to Sydney, than it was to sell board. So we're like, you sell board for another 5 days of travel. Oh, we sell board for 5 more days of food. And say $400
Yeah, I think they got the front.
They have tied up in front?
Yeah, I think, yeah, they did.
Oh yeah? Look at that. Got on his first try.
Well, he's probably been doing this several.
So once we got on the ship, and we'll go back to the stateroom. This is our Deck 9 Junior Suite balcony, and enjoy these beautiful views of Qaqortoq as the ship is departing. And we got quite a bit of footage out here.
There's a little boat coming in here.
Very quiet, very serene, very peaceful, very, very cool to have. This is the reason you get an ocean view balcony or a junior suite, which essentially has an ocean view balcony, is so you can just be right here in your stateroom, step out onto the balcony and enjoy this beautiful view without having to go up on deck in order to see it. I don't know. What does your phone say?
What are you doing with my watch? I'm charging it. Okay. Freaking back over. 6 and 6. So
Yeah.
I guess it is. There's sunset. He was saying, I think right now. I think he meant now. We only have like 16 or something like that.
Oh, like this time of year?
But I think that's, increasing.
Yeah. Very rugged terrain. That's a pretty big little iceberg sitting right there. Here's looking towards the bow.
So even though Greenland is ginormous, many of these cities or whatever are not connected. Like they're not connected by way of land to a lot of the other ones that are connected by land to no, they're not connected by water.
Well, they are, but you
Not
know,
by land.
well, it's not passable. Let's put it that way. Because like you start to go inland and it's just like a gigantic ice. It's just not, you
Oh,
know.
so they are connected by
Well, yeah, it's common, yeah. It's just,
just not.
yeah, imagine, like, take Florida, right? And imagine the entire center of Florida is like ice and you couldn't really travel across it. So you'd have to, you know, think of it that way. Yep, chilly, chilly. Right around 50 degrees, light wind. You stay out in it long enough and it starts to bite. Yeah, way off in the distance over there, there's a little iceberg. Just kind of sitting there. Qaqortoq, I think is the correct pronunciation. About 3,500 people. Hard to imagine that this is the very southern tip of Greenland. And it goes way up towards the north. It's like basically the North Pole. Which I guess essentially would be sort of that direction. And we've got icebergs. Big old chunks of ice.
More of them like that there.
Yeah.
Channel.
Yeah, so there's one way back there. And there's a couple right up here in the front. small one right there. See it? Right at the top level of the water. Little tiny one. Right there. See it? Very, very flat.
Oh, next to the rock.
Yeah, next to the rock, just barely sticking up above the waterline.
This one's like between the two.
Yeah. Another one over there. And of course we have these two right here. Oh, there's even a third one. Oh no, that might be a wave. It's hard to tell. Those are good size right there. Something over there is generating some waves against the shore. Looks like a little lighthouse over there on this rock.